Welcome anglers to 2018 NEMO fishing. Today I'm going to do a hook sharpening episode. I got a few little fishing lures out. There is an Aglia long, and took the skirt off of an old spinnerbait to help you see what I'm doing. There's a whetstone, simple whetstone from Walmart, not complicated. And some vice grip pliers to make sure I'm able to grip my fishing lure safely and with a good grip. And so I'm going to start sharpening. Now, why sharpen the hooks? A lot of hooks, when they come out of the box, are ready to fish. They're already sharp. They're doing better and better with that every day. Some are going to come out not ready to fish. Well, they're ready to fish, but if you really want them good and sharp, sharp hooks catch more fish. That's just plain and simple. And hooks get banged up, throwing them against docks and banging up against rocks, catching fish, logs. Anytime you snag something or that hook comes into contact with anything, it has the potential of damaging the hook so that it is not as sharp. If you could pull out a spyglass or microscope and look at the edge of the hook, you would see that the hook is actually got little bumps and edges, and it's not as sharp as what you would think it needs to be. So one of the ways you can do that to make the hook slide into the flesh of the fish's mouth easier is by sharpening your hook. And this time of year, it's early, the weather has not been cooperating, my schedule has not been cooperating, so I'm not able to get out there and fish like I would normally, like I did last year early in the season. And so that's a little frustrating. So in addition, in the off season, to filling up my tackle box, restocking, one of the things I do is sharpen my hooks. Sit around watching the baseball game early season, or the hockey playoffs, or maybe you watch Final Four. One of the things you can do while you're watching is just have a pile of hooks there, or fishing lures that you want to get sharpened, ready for the season, and your whetstone. Some stuff will flake off, so yeah, be aware of that. But it vacuums up. It's not a big deal. So here I am sharpening normal clothespin spinnerbait, and the goal of the sharpening technique is to attack the edge of the hook with the whetstone or whatever groove file or whatever it is you have, so that you can make a triangular point on the hook. Of course, some hooks are thicker, so they're going to be harder. Some hooks are thinner and will be a little bit easier, but on the other hand, are easier to over sharpen so that it loses some of its strength. So you got to be careful with that. You don't want to go haywire. But generally speaking, sharpening your hook, even an unprofessional sharpening of your hook, is going to be better than just leaving a hook dinged up and nicked and unsharp. It's kind of like a sharpened knife. A sharpened knife is a safer blade because it works better. Well, a hook is going to work better, of course, when it's sharp. It'll slide right into that fish's mouth, and that's what we want. More hook sets, deeper hook sets, especially if you fish any kind of fish with a mouth that is not as soft. A catfish will get hooked relatively easy. They're kind of dumb fish anyway. They don't really pay that much attention, and they got a soft mouth, so they'll hook up pretty easy. Bass is a little bit tougher mouth, and so they're going to hook up easier, but you're going to lose some fish, especially in the scales. If you get a treble hook that swings around and catches it in the scales, it might not grab if it's a softer or a unsharpened hook, a duller hook. But if you're talking about pike or muskie, or around here we have gar that I like to try to catch, and those fish are just virtually armor plated, and their mouths are a lot harder to hook up with, especially if they have sharper teeth. And so you want a good sharpened hook, and the best way to do that is just hands-on getting out the hook sharpener. And so after a while of using a whetstone or a file, well, a whetstone more so, you're going to develop grooves in the whetstone that will assist you in sharpening the hook. You follow the groove with the whetstone, and you'll notice now that I'm testing the hook. I'm lightly dragging that hook over my thumbnail, and if it's sharp, it'll catch. If it's still dull and needs more work, it'll slide over the thumbnail and won't catch as well. You want it lightly catching on your thumb to be a good hook. So I need to sharpen a little bit more. And so I attack that edge away from the hook point repeatedly and work at different angles, 3 angles if I can, to get a sharp triangular point on the hook. Sometimes you need to grind at it from different angles. Sometimes you use the whetstone more. Sometimes you actually are moving the lure across the whetstone. See, that one caught a little bit better. It's starting to get a little bit sharper. So I'm going to go ahead and move on to a treble hook on this Aglia long spinner bait. And you do the same thing. You pinch one of the hooks, being careful not to get the barb, and try to hold down the skirt and simply start sweeping at that hook. Just repeatedly attacking that hook at the angle. And it seems tedious, and it really is sometimes, but if you've got a Coke nearby and you're watching a game or your favorite show, then it's not so bad. And it can really be valuable in the long run with catching more fish. That's what we all want to do, is catch more fish, bigger fish, more fish. Catching them, I like catching them on film. That's why I vlog. So I've read that freshwater anglers don't pay nearly enough attention to their hooks as saltwater anglers. And maybe it's because saltwater anglers are dealing with salt water that may corrode the hook a little bit more. They use typically bigger hooks for bigger fish in the ocean, and so freshwater anglers use smaller hooks typically. But we freshwater anglers need to sharpen those hooks. So keep those hooks sharp. Enjoy yourselves. Happy fishing. See you next time.